Well, hello traders and investors. I'm LA Little and this is your daily NeoTA wrap, where we take a look at these markets and we do it from a neoclassical perspective. Each time we're asking ourselves what happened today and what does it tell us about the coming ones. We do that with supply and demand on the charts, and what does it look like tonight? Let's take a look at the numbers. If we go and see how things transpired, well, they really didn't. They just kind of sit there. We had the dollar up, we had the bonds up. We had oil and gold and silver trying to push down silver especially, but in the markets, a little bit of weakness in Europe. They came back some towards the close. Our markets really just don't want to give it up. They were down slightly on the S&P, the NASDAQ index, and the Russell down more so. Of course, those have been the ones that have been trying to push up, in particular the Russell. And the index and NASDAQ were the leaders yesterday. So all in all, I think there's a tendency at this point to probably overthink what's happening. These markets are just hanging at the highs. 4 days now, hanging at the highs. That comes after 6 gap up days in a row. So extreme strength. Now you get consolidation, tight consolidation at the top. The way this works is that you're either going to get some sort of a pullback fairly soon, if it's going to happen, right? This little consolidation area up here, or you're going to expand the range and continue up, right? Go finish off the ABCD structures, or come back down. Now today I gave members an idea of where I believe we're going to retrace to, if that retrace takes place, where you want to try to grab it. And if you're a member, you know where I'm looking, and you want to take advantage of that as it comes back in. That's true on the S&P, that's true on the NASDAQ, the index, and the Russell. They're all lined up the same way. They're all doing the consolidation at the highs right now, each and every one of them, as I flip through them here, with the index trying to be the strongest one now. Got Microsoft earnings after the bell. It was up about 2.5–3%. They actually grew their revenues finally, which is not something that's happened in quite a while. That's a result of the new CEO. I shouldn't call him probably new at this point. He's over a year old, but moving more towards the cloud, moving the whole planning and sales strategy of Microsoft forward, and they're getting some mileage out of it now. So they got a nice big bump after the close. If we look at Microsoft, though, it's going to take more than a 2% move to get it going again. So if we look elsewhere, then what we're going to see is really the same thing, and that is that all these markets, equity markets, are totally correlated right now. They're all heading higher, all based on central bank intervention expectations. We've got the ECB on Thursday, which will be the next in line. We had Britain not do anything, the Bank of England. Now we've got the ECB. Expectations are they may or may not. Bank of Japan end of the month, Fed again coming up. All the expectations lead to more money hitting the system and goosing equities. If you go over to the bonds, it's a different story. All across the world, bond yields are dropping, right? The expectations are they going to continue to drop. That's sending shares higher. And we can see it here on the TLT, where they had a nice big run up, right, off of the Brexit news. So you get a big spike up. Now you get the retrace, right? And the expectation is this thing's going to try and push back towards the upside. That's on bonds. If you look at other markets, you'll see correlations across the board. They're all moving, in one way. All the equities, all the bonds, pretty much everything moving in concert. Now, if we go to the dollar, a little bit of a different story today. That one started to break out. We'll see if it carries tomorrow. So you're over that swing point high. Gets over it. It's going to break it. Doesn't have the volume, but it's going for that expansion I've been talking about. Again, if you remember, you already knew this was probably going to take place because we've been buying it on these retraces. So dollar starting to move up. Expectation there is that it's going to continue to move up. Why is that? Well, because everybody's going to decrease the value of their currency, and that is going to force the dollar higher. And that's the expectation. We'll see if that carries on the ECB, especially if the ECB announces some new I'm going to save the world measures that Draghi seems to be famous for. It's kind of a sad state in that Every day you have to check what the central bankers are doing. Every day I have to talk about the central bankers. I've been doing this for a decade, talking about the central bankers. It's getting pretty old. But you know, they keep moving the markets. And whatever moves the markets, that's what we have to look at. That's the way it works. And so anyway, tonight technically looks the same. I don't see any differences out here. Market wants to move higher. Make it simpler. Don't try to fight it. Just go with it. If you get a retrace, you buy it. Have yourself a great night. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Good night.